Season's greetings. Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Wednesday, December 23rd. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. New COVID-19 protocols have come into effect today as SVG introduced Phase 9 of its COVID-19 measures. This as there is a rapid increase in the number of COVID-19 cases being recorded here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We get more details in this report from Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Traveling from high-risk countries to St. Vincent and the Grenadines now have to quarantine for 10 days in an approved Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Health facility. Previously, travelers had to quarantine in a government-approved facility for 5 days and complete the remaining days privately. This doesn't apply to vessels whose protocols remain unchanged. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Simone Keizer-Beache told SVG-TV News that two of the reasons for the change in quarantine was to guard against introduction of the new strain of the virus, which is now in the United Kingdom and several other countries, and because of the increased number of travelers who are testing positive after the 5-day quarantine.
Asking persons to comply and being able to monitor these persons at home from high-risk areas was not successful, and we could not take that risk, and therefore we moved towards the 10 days quarantine in the hotel where we can control the risk to our Vincentian community.
There are now 33 high-risk countries, with neighboring Grenada now being listed as a high-risk country. The CMO noted that protocols at hotels are to be re-examined and is reminding proprietors of what is required.
That they have a responsibility and a liability also to ensure that persons stay in their rooms, that there's no mingling in the corridors, that persons wear their mask, as in the staff.
As it regards action by the public to protect themselves and others, including during the current 9 Mornings activities, the CMO said her staff is working closely with the 9 Mornings committee, and thankfully, the activities are outdoors, but she is concerned about enclosed areas where shopping crowds take place.
Picking up coronavirus from somebody who might be there that we have not detected and who would be asymptomatic, because what we're still getting is persons saying, oh, well, I'm not sick, I have no cough and any cold, but we all know in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that the majority of persons who we have found to be coronavirus positive have not had one single symptom. So our ask is that persons wear your mask.
Responding to a question about community testing, Dr. Keizer-Beache said that targeted screening is done and will be intensified in high-risk communities, as well as among staff of hotels and at the Argyle International Airport.
And by doing that sort of screening, because these persons come from multiple communities, you would be doing a sampling of the entire population.
Meanwhile, the CMO said that the residents in the Grenadines have expressed concerns that some guests are apparently breaching protocols while in quarantine. She explained what measures will be taken to address this concern.
Over the last few weeks with the big wedding in Mustique, I voiced concerns about the protocols being used by the resorts, the quarantine phase. So we're just asking persons to understand that there are slightly different protocols for those persons on those identified resorts, and that we are working closely with those resorts, and their protocols have to be approved by the Ministry of Health. We are also increasing the monitoring of the enforcement of those protocols.
Yesterday, SVG recorded one new COVID-19 positive case, who is an adult and who traveled from the United Kingdom on December 19th. So far, this country has recorded a total of 108 COVID-19 cases, 85 of whom have recovered. There are now 23 active cases of COVID-19, all arriving from countries deemed to be high risk. No COVID-19 related deaths have been recorded, and more than 400 persons are in quarantine. For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
4,788 farmers received payments today as the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines honored its promise to them. They were promised 2 payments of $500 each for COVID-19 relief. The first set of payments were made in September to some 2,000 farmers. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said on NBC Radio this morning that the delay of the second payment to farmers is because of the tardiness of some workers in the Ministry of Agriculture.
But some bureaucrats at the Ministry of Agriculture were just too tardy, and I want them to hear me. too tardy in getting the list sent to be approved. It shouldn't have been such a difficult thing because we paid the first 500. We know we have added some people who are stragglers. And you might have had query about this or that list. Well, you had enough time to make sure that this list which you're sending to me now to be approved for the second payment is in order. And it took too long to send it.
The Prime Minister said that the new list of farmers was given to him on Monday afternoon. The payments amount to close to $24 million and were made after the first payment.
Supposed to prepare a thing called an impress because the people are being paid cash. The person who's preparing the impress apparently is not told that I already approved this particular list. So he's preparing the impress. They're trying to bring, apparently I don't know if they're stragglers or people who, another 100 and something, so they're changing the list. So by yesterday afternoon, I mean, this list prevented me from going to my constituency on Monday because I wanted to deal with this. 4:30, and I sent it down to the Accountant General. I want people to know this.
Dr. Gonzalez listed the various payment points where farmers received their $500 payout.
You're having 236 people at Barrowallie, 7 people in Beckway, 974 in Lacroix, 664 in Langley Park, 595 in Lauders, 229 in Park Hill, 786 in Rosebank, 24 in Union Island, KINGSTOWN, and this is one I'm leaving for last, and I'll speak to this, 1,273. Leaving 4,788. A lot of people from the other parts of the country registered in KINGSTOWN.
The Prime Minister said although some persons are not appreciative of the $500 support, it will be very helpful.
Oh, what do you think $500 is about? Well, if you're on a monthly salary, whether in this radio station or in my office, you're a civil servant or you're a statutory body or you're working for a big company and your salary is assured, couriers or whoever. You may want to talk like that. But if you had to undergo the drought and the COVID, despite the fact that the Love Box helped the farmers, particularly when the market in Trinidad and Barbados collapsed, the money is helpful.
This Christmas, eggs are greatly in demand and the price has been climbing steadily. Many persons say the price is too high, but they have no choice other than to purchase. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more in this report.
Get your egg.
The price for a flat of eggs is now $35, but some persons have paid as much as $40 and $50 for a flat. Vendors say that they have to charge the customers these prices because of how much they paid for the chicks from poultry farmers.
15 egg, $18, 35 a flat. Buying the egg, but me have an egg.
Persons buying eggs say that they need it to do their baking, especially for the Christmas day, which is 2 days away. And despite the complaints about the hike in the price, they grit their teeth and pay, noting that they must have eggs for Christmas baking.
So why have you raised it when now it's Christmas? Why have you raised it? Just last week it was $25. Now this week it's $35.
Not really. The wife using it for cakes.
Oh, I just come to get some eggs, but you look like eggs here. 35? The price expensive, but you know how to take it because I want it. I plan to make cakes, sweet bread, everything.
Last year, there was a glut on the market, and the price of eggs fell to as low as $10 a flat. But this time, it is different.
This year, they complain about it this year, but last year was $10. Nobody wasn't complaining. Remember, from the farmers, they get licks sooner, so you have to give and you have to take.
The Consumer Affairs Division in the Ministry of Consumer Affairs said the price of eggs is not controlled, hence it is up to the seller to charge whatever they want for the commodity. For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
A wooden house in CANOUAN belonging to Susan Jacobs, who is originally from Union Island, was destroyed by fire last evening. A Facebook Live video on Hansel Crush Henry's page last night displayed the incident while the house was being engulfed in flames. Henry noted on the live feed that the owner of the house was on the mainland, but he spoke to Jeffery King, who is in charge of the premises while the occupants were out. King is a resident of Diamonds Village who is employed in CANOUAN. King said after the family left for Kingstown, he also left the house and went to neighbors to assist them with some work.
I went to St. Vincent. I went to help a friend of mine down the road. And while we were there, I saw the smoke. And the smoke was telling me the direction of the smoke was coming from the house. So I immediately went. And when I got there, it was like we had to get buckets and we were just doing things to start to stop the fire, but it was already gone, and I don't know.
So when you got there, how bad was it?
It was bad already. It was really bad. It was bad.
So there was no one in the house?
There was no one in the house, no.
Okay, well that is
because good. The family had left. Some had gone to Union Island and some went to St. Vincent.
King, who occupies the lower floor of the house, explained that the fire was very strong and no one could get in to save anything. King said he lost everything in the fire, including his identification card and passport. Susan Jacobs and her family also lost everything.
So what I saw with my own instinct is like the vicinity of the smoke.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So I left everyone and I said, we saw the smoke and I said, let me go.
So all the personal belongings and contents would have been destroyed. What about yours?
My personal, everything.
Everything for you already?
Everything. My ID card, my passport, my everything.
Okay.
Everything.
And where are you originally from?
I'm originally from St. Vincent, Diamond Village in the country.
Diamond Village. And what do you do in
Diamonds.
Diamonds. What do you...
Well, I work in the hotel industry.
Okay.
And also, since the hotel is closed, I work in the construction area. And
okay.
I know Susan from Union.
I know Susan for quite a while as well.
I used to be with her in Union, and so we were like a family.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Christian Council is urging the nation not to forget the true meaning of the coming of Christ as they celebrate Christmas. The council said in a release that while Christmas truly is a joyful occasion, people should not get lost in the celebration and miss the true and full importance of Christ's coming to earth. It noted that people place great emphasis at Christmas on ensuring the poor and less fortunate have a meal, a gift, and that they are made a little more comfortable. However, we should also think of ways to contribute to their present conditions and work to create a better life for them and all citizens in SVG. The SVG Christian Council also used the opportunity to extend to the nation greetings for a peaceful and joyous Christmas and encouragement to be renewed to love and work together as a people to the honor and glory of God. As 9 Morning celebrations wind down, Senior Pastor of the Harvest Bible Chapel, Al Blake, appealed to the crowd attending the activities in Kingstown to keep in mind the reason for Christmas. Pastor Blake was leading this morning's devotions, which were led by Harvest Bible Chapel. The pastor also prayed for the safety of people as they led the worship segment of the 9 Morning's activities.
With the life that you live, or you hide your light with a life of sin and selfishness. Jesus, it tells us that he is the exact imprint of God's nature. He is the fullness of God in all aspects. And he considered you to be valuable, that he wrote himself into your story as the pre-existent, eternal, self-illuminating creator of all things. The King of Kings and Lord of Lords, steps into our story. Why did he do that? This is the importance of Christmas. He did it to save our people from their sins, to reconcile man to God. And he wants you to receive his salvation. That is what the incarnation is all about. That is what Christmas is all about. Let us pray.
The crowd was treated to a range of performances, including song, music, and poems, and also engaged in games. Meanwhile, in Barrouallie this morning, a racing competition formed part of the 9 morning celebrations. The races included relays and sack races for juniors and seniors. Other activities this morning included dancing and singing.
To see something come out here, you will have 2 minutes to do that, okay?
See him in a manger laid. Look, we've known each other for some time.
Go! Go!
Let's go! Go! Jump! 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 Jump!
Go!
9 morning's activities began in Barrouallie this week with the turning on of the lights and a junior football competition. A senior football competition will bring the curtains down on the activities tomorrow morning.